First and only antiviral surface cleaner to help stop the spread of COVID-19, now approved by the EPA. American Airlines and 2 sports clinics in Texas will be the first to use Surface-Wise 2, a disinfectant which creates a barrier on surfaces and breaks down the virus for several days. Here to discuss this potential benefits is Professor of Microbiology and Immunology at the University of Arizona. Dr. Charles Gerber is here. Fox News contributor Dr. Mark Siegel has been looking at this for us, and former NFL fullback for the Dallas Cowboys and Fox Sports NFL analyst Daryl Johnston, graduate of Syracuse. First off, Daryl, I'm used to talking football with you. What sold you on this product?
Well, the big thing is I met Mike Ruley, the CEO, about 3 years ago on the first generation product, and we were trying to get it into the athletic space for staph and MRSA and some of the bacterial problems that happen with athletes. And after the XFL had to close down business because of the pandemic, I reached out because I knew they were going down this path, and I was excited to hear what they were doing. And he invited me out, showed me their second generation product and everything that it was capable of doing. And I just wanted to be a part of this team because I knew the sports leagues were going to have to close down and they need to start up. So my challenge has been through this whole process getting this in front of the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, the MLS, trying to make sure that their athletes are safe, trying to push it down into the collegiate ranks and hopefully all the way down to high school football, because I've always believed that the return to sports was going to be one of the big things that was going to help us get back to normal here in our country. So,
Dr. Gerber, in layman's terms, because I'm the ultimate layman in this, so you're saying that if I'm in a locker room or if I'm on an airline, I spray it once, I could have that plane fill up 2 or 3 times within a week or 25 times within a week, and I don't have to spray it down again?
Yeah, that's correct. In fact, it's really been tested both in the real world and in the laboratory. We actually wear test this. We really try to wear it down, and this really holds up for a long time. At least in our studies, up to 90 days. It's still very effective.
This is game-changing, which is why we asked Dr. Siegel to look at it. And you've been talking to Daryl Johnston, too, on this for about a month now. Dr. Siegel, what do you think?
I think it's very impressive. Brian, I want you to understand, this is not instead of regular cleaning, but it's the idea of putting on a surface that's something that gives you a baseline protection. And one study they did last April in one of the major infectious disease journals shows a 36% reduction in hospital infections using this. And again, you lay this on, and then on top of that, you do your daily cleanings. You're not going to replace it. But think of a football locker room, for example.
Yep.
If you think that doing the daily cleaning matters, the next day, they're there with more sweat. So this provides a baseline protection, and I think it's very effective. And the SARS-CoV-2 virus is very easily killed. It's got a fat coat, a lipophilic coat on it. It's easy to kill it. So this is a very good addition. So,
Daryl Johnston, the whole thing is, can I get it to that small school and to that small community that doesn't have much money? Can I get it into a major private college? Is there any way for this to be ready? If it's proved effective and the EPA sold on it, is there any way to get it to everybody?
That's what we're hoping, Brian, and we're really working side by side with the EPA to try and get a Section 3 waiver to roll this out nationwide as we continue to press the length of the residual protection. And we just had a great conversation with a small school down here in Texas defending 3A division state champions at Gunner High School, and they only had 2 cases, so they really weren't worried about the virus. But when we told them that they could return to pre-COVID-19 cleaning protocols, their head coach looked us straight in the eye and said, so you're saying my coaches can coach and my teachers can teach? They don't have to be janitors anymore? So the time element is another huge component as we get down into some of the smaller schools and some of the smaller colleges.
Dr. Gerber, I told you in my town, they're walking around with plexiglass. And today's the first day of school. I mean, you're saying that the American Airlines is sold on this to the point where they can take some additional precautions, but they could feel there's a foundation there?
Yes, I think this really adds the additional barrier we always wanted, because we know surfaces get recontaminated all the time. So I think in that way it's a breakthrough, is that we have an antiviral product in particular that can be put on a surface and cover those times when the surfaces get recontaminated.
So, Dr. Siegel, what would be your question that you have right now if you had a health club or you were principal of a school to make you feel better, to tell the kids to come back and maybe think this thing's going to be clean for a week. You can clean a week, at least a week at a time. What's your question?
Well, so, Brian, I love that it does common surfaces in areas of high volume like planes and like schools. I want to know that my kids don't get irritated or don't get allergies from this. I'd want to know from Dr. Gerber that they tolerate it and it doesn't cause any eye watering or anything like that.
Your answer, Dr. Gerber?
Yeah, that's a good question. The EPA it requires that type of testing, and that's been done. It's not a skin sensitizer. It has one of the lowest ratings for toxicity that EPA gives for disinfectants.
All right, the free market doing its work while going through the scientific steps. Daryl Johnston, okay, no eye black on. You don't have to wear a chin strap, but I think you're making a huge difference and having a major impact. Dr. Charles Gerber, best of luck that this works. Dr. Siegel, thanks for your expertise, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.